What if? That's the first question you need to ask yourself if you're stuck on a scene, if you have too many ideas for a particular scene, anything to do with character ideas as well, setting, anything along those lines. If you're stuck with your story, the first question you need to ask yourself is what if? What if this happened? What if I try that? Because I know sometimes you guys actually do have ideas, but because you're not sure if the idea is good enough or if it flows with the rest of your story, you're just debating with the idea other than trying it out. So that's why I like to utilize the strategy what if. Because with that question, what if, you could go down a rabbit hole and decide on whether or not you should go with the idea or not. So, but the main reason why I made this video, because I talked about the what if strategy in the past before in a previous video, but the main reason why I wanted to showcase this and have its own video is so that I could do this right here. So as you can see, I'm using like Remarkable. I don't know if you guys use Remarkable or not. Those paperless tablets, those things are amazing, by the way. But I just learned recently you can connect it with your computer, and yeah, this is kind of how my writing looks like. So at least I'm Remarkable. But yeah, I just wanted to use this to kind of show you guys an example of what I mean by the what if strategy. So first things first, right? Um, if you see this right here, Doctor Strange looking through all the possibilities. Because basically what you're doing. You're going to be taking a single idea. So basically, like the last idea you had for a particular scene, you're going to take that, and then you're going to look through whatever possibilities you could go to in terms of where you want to take the story next. So let me show you an example. So this is an example of one of my stories, and this is like an example for like setting, because I was struggling to decide on where to start my story for this story called Magic Force. And one of the main reasons why I was stuck with this setting and where I want to start off my main character is because the fact that he's trying to hide the fact that, well, not him, but his parents is trying to hide the fact that he has dark magic abilities. And depending on where he starts off in the story could really impact how the rest of the story is going to play out. So, first things first, I have the first idea is him starting off in Magic City, which is like the main city where all the other magic users be. So, like light wizards, earth, wind, fire, water, things like that are all reside in Magic City, which is the most populated. And as you can tell, I didn't mention dark wizards because they're banned. So yeah, so that's why I'm thinking about that right there. I'm thinking about like a neutral environment that is not in Magic City, or as I'm gonna mention later on, the dark magic base. So like where dark magic wizards are hiding from everyone else and kind of like excluded from society. So do I want him to start from there? Do I want to start from Magic City, or do I want him to start from like a neutral zone? So yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking about, and that's kind of where I started off the premise of my what if for this part of the story. So the next thing I like to do is sometimes when I ask myself what if is I kind of like connect it with a question. So like my question is, how would each environment affect TVR's perspective of society? So TVR is my main character, and I would like him to have like an understanding, especially this is gonna be a book series, so especially since I want him to like understand both sides of the coin of like why dark wizards are banned in the first place, as well as understanding where the dark wizards are coming from and their perspective. I want him to have a understanding of both eventually. So I was like, what would be the best case scenario in order for him to even get the chance to understand both sides, where one side is not overwhelming and it doesn't take over too much to where he doesn't really have much of a chance to understand the other side. So these arrows right here, I think this is for the Magic City side and this one's for the Dark Wizard side. Yeah, because the question mark is for the neutral side. I wasn't too sure what perspective he would probably get if I have him start in a neutral zone. Probably the Dark Wizard side, especially if he's with his parents, because his parents One is a light wizard, one is a dark wizard, let's just say. So I'm not really too sure. But I know in the Magic City side, he's definitely gonna share the same beliefs as the majority. And if he starts in the dark magic base side, then he's gonna share the thoughts of the minority, obviously. So, which led to my next question, which I think this could also help you as well if you use the what if strategy. Like, have a goal in mind of when you're implementing the what if strategy is. So my goal was to like have Tavia going have an understanding of like both perspectives, and with that understanding and with that goal in mind, that kind of helped me break down a little bit further of like which scene I want to go through, or which path I should say I want to go through in my story. So how does Tavia gain the perspective of both perspectives? So this is kind of continuing off these right here from the top. So this is for Magic City and this is for the dark magic base. So this right here, I left a question mark because I wasn't too sure how he would get the perspective of the Magic City if he's overwhelmed by the minority. Like if he's originated from the dark magic base, I don't really see how, unless because he honestly he has both, right? He has dark magic powers and as well as light magic powers. And maybe if he was discovered that he has light magic powers as well, maybe he'll be kicked out of the dark magic base potentially, and maybe that will lead him to Magic City potentially. But I think for me, the way I'm seeing the story going is he has the belief of the majority of Magic City, right? And because I want him to have the understanding of both perspectives, currently in the beginning he has the perspective of the first part, like I said, but then he gets forced to be kicked out because he learned and everyone else learned the fact that he actually has dark magic abilities. He doesn't even know himself. I'm gonna say that he doesn't even know himself, but he learns that fact, and the others learn that fact as well, which leads to him being kicked out, and then he kind of doesn't really have a choice but to not really seek out, but I guess during his journey of uh, finding a new home, he kind of runs into a dark magic base, and that's what leads him to get their understanding and their perspective of how society treats them, sees them, and how they're wrong as well. So yeah, because the overall theme of my story is, you know, understanding discrimination, understanding both sides was the solution to discrimination, especially if both sides kind of have a point about one another. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying. That's like my main objective. That's my goal for my story. So that's kind of what made me realize like this is probably gonna be the path I'm gonna take. Him starting off in Magic City, originally sharing the same beliefs as the majority, and then him being forced to leave due to his secret of being a dark magic wizard, and then he's gonna end up in the dark magic base later on in the story. So that's kind of what helped me decide, and that's all starting with what if. What if he starts off in this base or a neutral zone or in a dark magic base? All that sense of me asking myself what if and kind of going down each path, and what tends to happen is once you go down a certain path, one path you're gonna not really have much ideas for, so you're gonna stop there, but the other path you're gonna start sparking up something, and something's gonna continue forward, and that's when you're gonna continue on and decide on this path just because you have more ideas in the moment for that path. But that could change later on. Like I said, that could change later on. Like maybe eventually later on, I have a new idea for this right here, and then I decide on to go with this path or something along the lines of this path. I might maybe down the line come up with something here, and maybe that'll change my mind and decide on that. But for now, based on this strategy, this is the most logical, sensible. It's what connects everything. So that's why with this strategy, I go with this path right here. So another example is another story I have is To Be King. Uh, this is more like just a scene, a scenario, like in a smaller scale. So Let's say I'm stuck in a scene, like the last scene I have is Cedric sends a letter to the king, but to give context, there's a council member that doesn't want the king to be able to find out or have evidence that the fact that the prince is missing, because that's really what the letter is stating. And so I have like two paths for that, where the chamberlain gets the letter before the king sees it, but it will also cause Cedric to become suspicious of the chamberlain. So that's kind of like the first path right here. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. So I decided, let me explore the other way. Well, what if I decide where the letter gets to the king without the chamberlain noticing, and then the king finds out that the prince is missing, which causes emergency meeting for the council. And then I ask myself a question: what would Chamberlain do in this situation? Which could lead to another, what if scenario with like different paths of what I could take. So that's kind of like more of like a scene scenario of like, okay, this is the last scene I wrote. What would be the next path I will take with this scene, based on my goals and based on the flow of the story so far. So like, because I'm able to generate some more ideas with this side, that's why I decided to go with this side of the, I guess, graph, other than the other side. So yeah, I hope this helps with you gaining an understanding of what I mean by the what if strategy and asking yourself what if. Yeah, this is one of the top three maybe strategies that help me out with writing out my stories, and especially with brainstorming and coming up with ideas. Definitely, like 100%. Another thing I want to know is, how do you feel about like this whole like remarkable display and like showcasing my, I guess, my writing and ideas and stuff like that? Because I always write all the time on my remarkable like digital notebook. And that's kind of where I write most of my ideas. So I'd like your thoughts on this format of showcasing my writing and stuff like that. Because I kind of would prefer using this other than like using I don't know, like the website called Miro. Like I still kind of not figure out how to use that website in order to write out my stories or my ideas for these videos. And quick thing, because I just found out something cool right here. Let me show you. Let me show you this right here. Let me see. Hit accept. So I could do this, right? I can wait. I can't scroll. Do I have to scroll through my? Okay, so right now I'm using my tablet. Like I have, my tablet is like scrolling through. Let me see if I could do this in real time. You see how I'm writing in real time? Okay, this is amazing. So I'm thinking about doing stuff like this where I'm like writing stuff out in real time as I generate thoughts. I think that'd be really cool to showcase, other than just like having, I don't know, like wasting paper and like using like actual paper and markers and stuff. I think this would be a great way to do this. And then let me see how the erase looks like. Yeah, it erases pretty well, honestly. Yeah, I could do this. So you let me know your thoughts on this style of video format right here. Lastly, if you need help with your draft, as I'm racing this, if you need help with your draft, if you're stuck with scenes and you feel like it'd be beneficial if you brainstorm with somebody in order to break through the writer's block, you could definitely click on the video either here or there, somewhere up there, which is going to explain my consultation calls. I'm going to be working directly with you, where I'm going to read your outline, give my suggestions, ask you a bunch of questions, and then yeah, we're going to work together into completing your outline so you can start your first draft as fast as possible. So you could click the link down below to in order to book a call with me. But yeah, I appreciate you watching this video. Hopefully this strategy helps you a lot, a ton. And yeah, just to let you know, especially as you go through the what if strategy, some ideas you're gonna connect with, and if you connect with an idea, that's all you need. That's all that's necessary. So yeah, if you connect an idea, make sure you have it in your story, because that's what matters. If you like the idea, others will like it too. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you have an amazing day. Peace.